What's up, party people, and welcome to Stoniecast number 171 and season 5, episode 33 of Thoughts and Hunches, making money in bunches and sucker punches. It's your boy Stony coming back at you for the 171st time, and I'd like to welcome all of my fellow heathens, shady characters, lowlifes, hoodlums, criminals, scumbags, scoundrels, altar boys with unhealthy relationships with their priests, hustlers, wise guys, foul-mouthed raging alcoholics, MLB players that have got into a fight with Bryce Harper. You know who you are. Thanks for watching, by the way. Cheats, gangsters, fienders with abusive language, degenerates, let's face it, anybody with a massive gambling problem. If you're new to the show, hey, you probably fit into a few of those categories, so welcome, because you're one of us now. One of us. One of us. One of us. Gooba gabba, one of us. We accept it. Sorry. Every now and then I get a little carried away there. Make sure to hit the subscribe button right down here in the lower right-hand corner and ring that bell. That way you can get notified every time I put out a new video. To spread the word's also very easy. All you got to do is just tell other scumbags and degenerates you know to go to YouTube and enter Thoughts and Hunches in the search bar. That'll take you directly to my page so you can get dialed into everything I give you. Also, if you're new and you don't know what's what with this channel, it's college and pro football winners, MLB playoff winners, and college basketball winners. And this is all that's left, is college hoops. A couple more episodes. The books don't expect a guy like me to deliver this many winners. I'm an outlier and I'm a disruptor. I'm like the Beastie Boys. I disrupt.
Step inside the party, disrupt the whole scene!
Yes. That a kid. Way to make that happen. That's what I do. I go to the mattresses and I get the info for you every single week in order to get you to the window with a ticket to cash. Now, before I get to the picks, as usual, I have some thoughts.
Give me all you got! Listen, give me all you got!
Attaboy, Al. I'll start with some programming notes. We're coming down a stretch here, people, as the number of games decreases every day, as do the remaining number of Stoniecasts. You've got this one you're watching right now, another one on Saturday morning for the Elite Eight, which will be Stoniecast 173. Is that right? No, excuse me, 172. The Final Four edition, 173, will be a week from tonight on Wednesday to give you all a couple of days to debate who you would like. And finally, Stoniecast 174 is the season finale, and it will post on Sunday, the day before the national championship, when I fly back from Key Largo, where I'll be during the Final Four. Yeah, I've made so much freaking money for you fienders this year that I also got paid very well myself, so I might as well spoil myself. Big boy basketball is here right now, all right? David Portnoy, Scott Farrell, Pat McAfee, and others have all said last weekend was the worst opening weekend in the history of the tournament. Why? Because there weren't any big-time upsets and no Cinderellas. According to the seeding in the tournament, it's mostly been a very chalky show so far. The ratings have been through the roof, though, because nobody wants to see Cinderellas after they win one game. Everybody wants to see the big boys. All-time high ratings for last weekend. Right? You all know I don't care about brackets anyway, as I wager on every single game on the sides and the totals. Don't kid yourself about all the chalk seeds that advance, but plenty of dogs covered numbers, all right? Sure, there were blowouts, but dogs did well over the weekend, and the totals were up and down, primarily overs, though, including the ultimate bad beat, with Connecticut draining basically a half-court shot free at the buzzer to hit the over when I had the under. But these things happen, and like I said, this is now big boy ball, as the pretenders have all gone home and gone away, right? And the teams that deserve to be here are here. 16 teams remaining, all from Power 4 conferences, including an unprecedented 7 teams from one conference, SEC. Good night, mid-majors. A big thing that needs to be addressed, excuse me, whoa, that kind of came out of nowhere. The mid-majors, right? They can compete, but no more big-time runs from double-digit seeds to the Final Four, because if you're a good player from a mid-major now, eventually you get swallowed up by the majors, who have more NIL money that they can distribute through the transfer portal. The cream rises to the top, and I love it, regardless of what Portnoy, Farrell, and McAfee say. As for the week that was, the week began with the first 4 games on Tuesday and Wednesday, and here's how I did daily. NCAA sides, 2-0, 2-0, 8-8, 10-6, 3-4-1 on Saturday, and 5-3 on Sunday, for a solid 30-21-1 run. Totals, I went 1-0-1, 1-1, 7-9, 11-5, 5-3 on Saturday, and 4-4 on Sunday, for 29, 22-1. It ain't world shaking, but it's in the black. NIT action, I just got hot and stayed hot, and wound up 15-8 on the week to add some sauce to an already good week. So let's take a peek at the numbers, all right? Last week, 74 wins, 51 losses, 2 pushes. 60% even, right on the nose. Another fantastic week with only 3 Stoniecasts left. NIT, like I said, 15 wins, 8 losses, 65.22%, fantastic numbers. NCAA tournament, sides, 30 wins, 21 losses, 1 push, 58.82%, also very good. NCAA totals, 29 wins, 22 losses, 1 push, 56.86%, which I'll gladly take because it all added up to a 60% week. Now, overall, every single pick that I've given you in all 32 Stoniecasts up until now, I'm at 1,518 wins, 1,091 losses, and 28 pushes. That's 58.18%. I mean, that's just ridiculous, right? Numbers that good can mean only one thing.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Now, please remember that all of these picks are 100% free. So for all the touts out there that are giving you 75 to 80% winners, come on, stop. Stop with it. We all know that you're full of shit. Plus, you're charging for these picks.
Oh!
That's right. You know, it's just, I can't even fathom it, right? With me, just come to YouTube every week and I'm going to drop my plays on you for free, all right? Are you all ready? Let's do this. Away we go to episode 33. Al?
Just win, baby.
That's right. Okay, let's get it all started off tomorrow. 7:09 Eastern on CBS with the East Regional Semifinals at the Prudential Center in Newark. Second-seeded Alabama's 5.5-point chalk over 6-seed Brigham Young, and the total set at 175.5. Alabama took out Robert Morris in round 1, didn't cover, because your boy did. And St. Mary's in round 2 did cover. Mark Sears is the engine for the Tide, plain and simple. But Grant Nelson and Muhammad Diabate are the ones who go hard to the glass and clean up the messes. Freshman, I don't even know why I couldn't get that one out. Slasher LeBaron Philon. He's had a great last month, but he's basically been MIA in the first 2 rounds. Bama wants to get out and go and play this game into the 90s. BYU wouldn't mind that, as they like to push pace also and shoot it from downtown. The Cougars beat up VCU in round 1, and after a huge lead in round 2, they held on to take out Wisconsin. Richie Saunders is BYU's answer to Mark Sears, and it should make for a great matchup between 2 excellent guards. Igor Demon is the only other Cougar that averages in double figures, but their depth is a major strength as they go 10 deep and just keep subbing in fresh legs. In 2 games, BYU scored a combined 171 points, and Alabama scored 170. This one has the makings of an old-fashioned shootout and a great one. Bama has a big edge in athleticism, but BYU shoots it better from all 3 levels. I like Bama here to move on, but BYU has been underestimated all season long and continues to deliver. So I'll take Bama to win, but BYU catching 5 and a hook. That's the play, along with over 175 and a half. Yep, I said over 175 and a half. This game's going to be played into the 90s. 7:39 Eastern on TBS in the West region at the Chase Center in San Francisco. Top-seeded Florida is a 6.5-point favorite versus 4th-seeded Maryland, and the total's 155.5. Florida cruised in round 1 versus Norfolk State and were pushed to the limit on Sunday in their win over 2-time defending champ Connecticut. The star power for the Gators is startling. It really is. And it all starts with super guard Walter Clayton Jr. He's always the best player on the floor. He won't score 30 every night, but he makes the big baskets when the big baskets are needed. His help comes from his other 2 guards, Elijah Martin and Will Richard, who formed the most potent 3-guard rotation in the NCAA for the going back a few years. Alex Condon, Thomas Hawk, and Ruben Chinyelu, oh my God, they bring the beef, right? Out of head coach Todd Golden's stable. And they're constantly attacking the glass and changing shot selection in the lane. Maryland, they come in after pasting Grand Canyon in round 1 and got the only buzzer beater of the tournament so far in their win over Colorado State. The Crab 5, as they're now known, are exactly that, because this is not a deep team. Only 1 or 2 guys off the bench get any type of meaningful playing time. Freshman Derek Queen is the man. He hit the game-winning shot to beat CSU on Sunday, and whether or not he traveled is not a debate. He clearly traveled, right? And I think it was blatant. I saw it in real time and couldn't believe that the basket was allowed. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. The Terps move on as Jacoby Gillespie and Rodney Rice from a tough backcourt that can score, right? But they can't afford to get into foul trouble, right? Stock is low on Florida right now after they were outplayed by UConn for much of Sunday's game before the cream rose to the top. So now's the time to get the Gators at a good price while the public sees them as beatable. Not here. If you ain't a Gator, you Gator bait. Florida minus 6.5, over 155.5. 9:39 Eastern on CBS in the East region at the Prudential Center in Newark. Top seed Duke is an 8.5-point favorite over 4th-seeded Arizona, and the total set at 153.5. In the last 2 months, the only time Duke was tested was in the ACC tournament semis against North Carolina, of all teams. Every other game's been a blowout. Mount St. Mary's on Friday and Baylor on Sunday are Duke's victims in this tournament so far, and there's a reason why they're overwhelming favorites to win it all in a week and a half. I can talk all day about Cooper Flagg, Con Kneppel, and Cayman Maluak, who are all stars, right? But the story of the tournament for the Devils has been Tyrese Proctor and his dead-eye shooting from downtown. He became the first player to make 5+ threes in back-to-back tournament games since his coach, John Shire, did it 15 years ago. Arizona's played really well. Since 2025 began, wins over Akron and a come-from-behind win over Oregon has them ready to give Duke a run for their money. Caleb Love once again led the way for the Wildcats, but Zona's depth has always been on full display, as Toby Awaka has been delivering in the paint, while Love's fellow guards KJ Lewis, Jaden Bradley, and Anthony Del Orso have all been dangerous. Both teams run about 8 or 9 players on the floor, and both are extremely athletic. The Love flag dynamic will be fun to watch, but it's Kneppel, Proctor, Lewis, and Awaka that are going to decide this game. Duke can defend with the best of them, and Zona's D has improved all season long. Tommy Lloyd versus John Shire is also a very good coaching matchup. Duke gets the win, but I like Zona here, catching 8.5 and under 153.5. The finale tomorrow night goes at 10:09 Eastern on TBS at the Chase Center in San Francisco, where third-seeded Texas Tech is a 5.5-point chalk versus 10-seed Arkansas, and the total's 147.5. Texas Tech hasn't been tested yet in easy wins over NC Wilmington, in which they attempted a tournament record 46 threes, and Drake in round 2. JT Toppin is the engine for the Raiders, and front court mate Darian Williams dominated the interior last weekend, while Elijah Hawkins forms a really good backcourt, right? Arkansas has already taken out 2 heavyweights in Kansas and St. John's in a truly awful game where nobody wanted to make a shot. In the first 2 rounds, and now they're in the Sweet 16 after starting the SEC 0-5, right? Jonell Davis, Boogie Fland, and DJ Wagner, the leading scorers, all from the backcourt, and they've played the last 8 games without leading scorer and rebounder Adu Thiero. But the Hogs are hopeful he can go tomorrow night, so keep your eye on whether or not he plays. Tech got Fland back just in time to help out and is now firmly back in the rotation. Neither team's very deep, as they each only go about 7 deep, and without Thiero, a premium is paid on foul trouble for Arkansas, but Tech can't afford it either. Tech head coach Grant McCaslin is highly underrated after a successful 6-year stint at North Texas, and now has his Raiders as a legit national power. John Calipari, on the other hand, is a Hall of Famer who already beat 2 Hall of Famers in Bill Self and Rick Pitino last weekend. I like Calipari, and I love what he's done this year, and in this tournament, he's the highest seed still remaining. But the Razorback run ends here as Tech takes him out because the Raiders can shoot it a lot better than Arkansas, period. Texas Tech minus 5.5, under 147.5. Moving on to Friday, we'll tip it off at 7:09 Eastern in the South Regional on CBS at State Farm Arena in Hotlanta. Second-seeded Michigan State is a 2.5-point favorite versus 6-seed Mississippi, and the total's 144.5. Michigan State blew out Bryant in the first round and took a while to get going before taking out New Mexico Sunday in round 2. Tom Izzo's back in familiar territory in the Sweet 16 with an incredibly balanced roster that goes 9 to 10 deep. Guards Jaden Atkins, Jace Richardson, yep, that's Jason Richardson's son, and Jeremy Frears Jr. head up an athletic and relentless backcourt as another Izzo staple, defense and rebounding, are also on full display. Ole Miss physically beat up North Carolina in round 1, and they ran past Iowa State in the second round by getting 5 into double figures. Ole Miss is very dangerous with their 3-guard offense, led by point man Sean Padula, Matthew Morrell, and Dre Davis, while Jamin Brakeford scores on the interior. This is another great coaching matchup between Tom Izzo and Chris Beard, who seem to always win, both of them. As much as I love Izzo and his depth, I think Sparty's in trouble here, as Ole Miss has found their stride. Finally, they found their stride, and they can hurt you offensively in a lot more ways than Michigan State can. Give me Ole Miss catching 2.5 right here with a sprinkle.
Sprinkle me, man. Sprinkle me, man.
Yeah, give it the old double. And while you're at it, give me under 144.5, Ole Miss and Michigan State. Friday, 7:30 Eastern in the Midwest Regional on TBS at Lucas Oil Field in Indianapolis. Second-seeded Tennessee is a 4.5-point favorite versus 3-seed Kentucky, and the total's 145.5. Tennessee comes in on the heels of easy wins over Wofford and UCLA, with sweet shooting Chaz Lanier leading a very talented roster. Defensive pests Zakai Ziegler and Jordan Gainey can both score as well, while big men Igor Milicic, Felix Okpara, and Cade Phillips attack the glass. Kentucky also comes in after 2 easy wins over Troy and Illinois. A lot like other teams in the tourney, UK boasts a 3-guard offense with Kobe Brea, Otega Owe, and a finally healthy Lamont Butler, while big man Amari Williams patrols the paint and dominates the boards. Neither team's very deep, as they only go about 8 deep, but both play excellent defense, though Tennessee has a decided edge in that department. Head coach Rick Barnes is trying to take the Vols to their first ever Final Four after getting close the last couple years. Kentucky beat Tennessee in both their meetings this season, and the old adage is that it's tough to beat the same team 3 times in one season. That's one of the reasons why Tennessee's favored. The other is because despite the 2 losses, Tennessee is and has been the better team all season. I like what Mark Pope has done in his rookie year at the helm, and now with Butler back in the fold, his Cats are talented, dangerous, and can score at all 3 levels. But I love Rick Barnes and his defense more. UT minus 4.5 over 145.5. 9:39 Eastern in the South Regional on CBS at State Farm Arena in Hot Town. Top seeded Auburn is 9.5-point chalk versus 5-seed Michigan, and the total's 153.5. Auburn hasn't been tested yet in easy wins over Alabama State and Creighton, as they seem to have got their swag back after the most overused phrase last week and a half, but they lost 3 of their last 4 going into the tournament. Forget about it, please. Janai Broome could very easily win National Player of the Year, and Auburn, for the most part, goes as Broome goes. But he's one of the few players in the tournament you don't have to worry about having an off night. Miles Kelly and Tahad Pettiford are dangerous players, but I think the key for the Tigers is Chad Baker-Mazara, who's a head case that can either fill it up or go very quiet. Michigan's one of the hottest teams still playing after winning the Big Ten tournament and surviving a major scare in their opening round win over UC San Diego, followed by a surprisingly easy win over Texas A&M. Big man Vlad Golden is the Wolverines' leading scorer, and he's going to have his hands full trying to slow down Broome with help from another dangerous player in Danny Wolf. Roddy Gale Jr. got hot in their win over Creighton, and he adds to the backcourt of Namari Burnett and Trey Donaldson. Auburn's experience and head coach Bruce Pearl are the deciding factors that are going to carry the Tigers to the Elite Eight on Sunday. But they ain't going to cover. Sorry, Michigan is tough and dangerous, and they're dangerous enough to stay in this one and come in under 10 points. Wolverines plus 9.5, under 153.5. And finally, to close out the Sweet 16 at 10:09 Eastern Friday night on TBS in the Midwest Regional at Lucas Oil Field in Indianapolis. Top-seeded Houston is 8.5-point chalk over 4-seed Purdue, and the total's 132.5. Houston blew out SIU Edwardsville in round 1 and let down their guard to allow Gonzaga into a game that shouldn't have been as close as it was to win round 2. LJ Cryer leads the team in scoring, but Emmanuel Sharp, Juwan Roberts, and Milos Uzan, they all average double figures as well. But let's face it, Houston's calling card is defense, and it has been ever since Kelvin Sampson took over and returned Houston into a national power again. Purdue blew out High Point and upstart McNeese in the first 2 rounds and seemed to be improving. They're the national runner-ups from last year, and most people dismissed them when Zach Edey graduated last summer. Trey Kaufman-Renn is averaging a hair under 20 points per game, but shooters like Fletcher Lawyer and Big Ten Player of the Year Braden Smith are all seasoned after making it all the way to the finals last year. Purdue can shoot and they can score. They're 5th in the nation in field goal percentage, and they're going to need to shoot it well against the nation's number 1 defense in Houston. The Cougars are tough and relentless on the boards, but is 8.5 too big of a number? Yep. Houston wins and advances, but Purdue plus 8.5 and over 132.5 are the plays here to close it out Friday night. That's all 8 plays for the Sweet 16. That's all you get. Don't forget to check back Saturday morning. The next Stoniecast will be coming out at you with the 4 games of the Elite 8 over the weekend. So until then, just remember, if you want to win big, you got to bet big. You can't go broke taking a profit. Scared money don't make money. For me, the action is the juice. The difference between winning and making money is that anyone can win betting chalk, but you can't make money unless you take the dogs. Do you want to win or do you want to make money? You decide. There's money on the streets that can't be ignored. And finally, good luck to you. And yeah, Gooch, I miss you, brother, because I know you'd be here right now loving this. Every part of it.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.